Hi everyone, welcome to day 4 of my 13 Frights before Halloween. This is Sandy. Welcome to my channel. Today the project is a little 5x5 shaker easel card that I created out of black artisan cardstock, authentic masquerade papers and elements, and Tim Holtz Halloween ephemera pieces. So it's a lot of fun. I have a Halloween shakers elements inside, little rhinestones and not rhinestones but beads and sequin stars and silver, orange and purple sequins inside. So it's a shaker card like that, but then you can lift it up and it will stand up as an easel. And it says, shadows of 1,000 years rise again unseen, voices whisper in the trees, tonight is Halloween. Happy Halloween. So this is a fun project, so let's get started on the tutorial. So for day 4, I'm working on a Halloween easel card with a shaker element on it. So my card's going to be 5x5. And first I'm going to work on the decorative panel that stands up. So I have here a 5x5 piece of cardstock, artisan black cardstock. Then I cut from the Authentiques Masquerade paper collection a piece that is 4x4, and then I cut a bunch out of the cardstock 1/2 inch wide by 4 7/8 tall cardstock pieces. I don't know, I have maybe cut a whole bunch, just cut a whole 12-inch section. So I'll probably have at least 15, maybe 20 of those. I like to build up my shakers with cardstock, not foam tape, because I don't like my little elements here that I have. I have a Halloween mix called Trick or Treat, and it is got little stars and purple, silver stars, orange sequins, so that looks like a lot of fun. So that's going to be our shaker part. I have a piece of the plastic acetate that I cut from a package. Couldn't find my other heavier. This should work fine. It's a little thinner than I normally use, but I cut this one to about 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. So that's going to lay right there on top. First thing I'm going to do is lay this so I can see it. I'm going to put score tape all around the edge of the plastic. Let me get my score tape scissors. I have a pair of score tape scissors that I just use on score tape because it gets really sticky. I clean them every now and then. So I'm going to line this up onto one side of the plastic. Gets a little tricky to make it stick. Butt it up. I don't want any space. Okay, and one more. Okay, so we have that put together. Burnish the backing on this so that it's easier to pull up later. Set that aside. Now I'm going to grab, I have 4 of these that I cut at 5-inch length, these 1/2 inch strips. I set them aside for the front up there. So I'm going to start layering these with my art glitter glue to get a little thickness. So I'm going to make 4 sets with all of them have the same height. So I'm going to go ahead and probably speed up the camera on this and get it as, you know, straight and perfect as you can. It may be off a little bit in some places, and that's okay. So we've got 2 there, 3, checking how thick it is. Let's go with 4 to start with on each one. So I'm going to make 4 sets with 4 strips of cardstock glued together. Okay, so there's one. Let's see how many I got. Got plenty. So I'm going to add extra. That's 5. So I have enough for 6 stacked together, so I could cut 24. So I am going to speed up the camera now. I'm going to glue 6 strips together into 4 sets. Okay, so I have all 4 sets made. I think that's thick enough. It's about probably 1/16 of an inch in thickness for my elements, for my shaker pieces. Okay, so next I'm peeling the backing off from the back of the plastic. And it's a little harder peeling it for me off of plastic because it tends to want to stick or peel up, not stick real well. I'll go ahead and get all 4 sides peeled up. Okay, next take your cardstock pieces, and I'm going to place them over this. As straight as I can. And now if they're too long, which it looks like they're going to be, I'll make sure they're butted up good too. I've got to move this one. I didn't have it good enough. Peeled some of my cardstock off, so I'll use glue there. Try not to do that. Okay. Butt it up here, right up on the edge. It's crooked. Leave it that way. Now I'm going to have to cut this one. So now we have that. And we're going to take our 5x5 piece of black cardstock, and I'm going to center this piece of paper that I cut to 4.5 by 4.5. This is, or 4x4, I'm sorry. This is from the Authentic Masquerade. It's the Spiderweb. Alright, take your bits that you want in there, and I'm just going to put them here in the center. Packed in there pretty tightly. Here we go. However many you think you might want to have shaking around. Okay, that looks like a good amount, I'm thinking. Okay, now then, make sure I have plenty of glue on my frame back piece. And then we're going to center that over the background. I am doing it about 1/8 of an inch from each side here. I'm kind of like making a frame. There. Press that down. Now what I'm going to do is, let's see how that shakes. Yeah. I'm going to put my design pieces, my scenery, on top. Like this. With the shakers behind it. So they're not in the plastic. They're going to be on top. So I get to use my moon that I wanted to before. And I'm going to glue him. Now this around here will be covered with pattern paper a little bit later. So I'm using my art glitter glue on my moon. And I'm going to put it here on the left side so he's facing there. And this is a die that I purchased from Country Craft Creations. Let's see if I can find the packaging here. So my little haunted house with the trees is a die from Cartabella called Haunted House Silhouette Die Set. And I ordered that from Country Craft Creations. It's a small little die set. And then I took, it punches out the windows. You cut it out on my Big Shot. Then I took a piece of paper and I colored it with Distress Oxide ink, because I didn't have this color paper, and then added a little bit of this Poisoned Love gray on top of that to kind of, so it's not so bright. And I just glued little squares of that paper onto the back of the house to make all the windows to have some light. So I'm going to put, see here, I want that. So I want that. Tiny bit under the moon. So the reason I didn't want these in under the plastic is because the shaker parts, bits, you get hung up on it. But I had a vision of what I wanted it to look like, so I wanted the shaker parts, but I wanted the little haunted house and the moon and that jack-o'-lantern. So I decided, well, I'm going to glue these to the front on top, just like that. Press it down good. Glue should dry clear here. And then the jack-o'-lantern's going to kind of go right in there. Now if there's anything else you wanted to add, like maybe some of the little labels. $31. And these are from all the Tim Holtz package that I had, the Halloween ephemera pack that has a whole bunch of different things in there. Okay. So everything shakes up behind there really good. And we are making an easel card, so this will be the front of the easel card. Like that. And now I'm going to cut some papers. Well, I have the black. That's what I initially had that for, was to go around the frame part to cover that up, but I may need some a little wider. let's see here. These need to be about 4.5. Let me cut these 4.5. I'm going to glue that right over the top. And then I will add some pattern paper. So I'm just finishing this off with black. Right there. And I know there's different dyes and things available for making shaker elements. And like I said, you could use the foam tape, but I don't like foam tape because everything sticks to the side. So I like that I am able to create something without spending a lot of money for dyes and things. So I'm sure some of you like to be able to save your money in certain ways, especially for something that you might only use maybe once or twice. Cutting these just a little bit longer than 4.5 to make sure that they're long enough, and so it's going to fit right over that. So I had it off just a little bit here, so I just trimmed a little bit with my scissors. And it's Halloween, it's okay if it's not perfect. So I'm going to stick this one on the side. When I say not perfect, I just mean that with Halloween it's a little more forgiving. You can do things crooked on purpose or a little off center and just keep adding elements to it. So I'm closing in this frame area here with these black strips. Oops, that one wasn't long enough. Pull that off. I'm going to cut another one. Cut another piece that was a little bit longer. So measure yours and make sure that it's covering the width that you need. Okay, there's that. So now we need to add some pattern paper and, across it on all the 4 sides. And there's our shaker. So let me pick out what I want to put on that. Okay, from the sheet that comes with the collection, the element sheets, these are not stickers, they're punch outs. So I punched out these jack-o'-lanterns, and they already have a jaggedy edge on each end, and chills and thrills. So I'm just going to decide, do I want this one at the top and this one at the bottom? And I'm going to go ahead and glue these on first. I cut 2 3/8 inch. Let's see how that looks. Do I want them wider? I think that's going to work. So I'm going to glue these on. These are the dots on the back side of the spider webs. And I cut them to 3/8 by 4 7/8, it looks like, yeah. So I'm going to glue this here. I kind of center it. That may be a little too long. And I will trim it off. So it probably only needed to be, and that's not going to show. They needed to have been about 4 5/8. Put another one here. Just get a little bit off the end. And glue this one on. And then after we get all this decorated, then I will show you how to make a simple easel card base for this. Okay, now we'll put the jack-o'-lanterns here on the bottom. And then chills and thrills at the top. And that looks cute. I have a circle that I punched out with a spider on it. I think I'm going to put it right in here. Maybe with that. I can put it there on the label and the jack-o'-lantern. I like to kind of, you know, layer stuff so that it has dimension. Kind of like that, not over his face. Then I'm going to look for something to go here on this side. I'm going to put this black cat's face right here. So add some glue to that. There's a lot of fun elements in this package, so I had to spend some time looking at them, so I think that's going to work like that. So then we still have room to see our sparkles up in there. And so let's get ready to assemble the card. So I have all this already pre-cut, and I'm going to need my scoreboard. I've already scored mine, but I want to show you what I'm scoring. So for your card base, you need to cut one piece of cardstock. Now this is going to be a 5 by 5 card, so this needs to be 10 inches by 5. And take your scoring tool and turn this over. And we're going to score at 5. So that's scoring it in half. And then we're going to score at 7.5. So that makes that half and half. So when you fold it up and burnish, we're getting the center fold of the card, and then we're getting what's going to create the easel part. Okay? Now then, we need to add patterned paper. I'm going to put it on the inside here. So I'll cut this 4 7/8 by 4 7/8. So we pattern the inside. And I hadn't cut it, but I think I'm going to be patterning this inside as well. So let me go ahead and cut those. Just trying to get this on straight. There we go. So there's your halfway. That's the inside of your card. Now we're going to pattern for sure this one out here. So this is cut. So 2.5, 2 3/8 by the 4 7/8. So this one's going to glue there. Now you can do this or the dots. I think I'm going to do the dots on the back. So any sections of your card that you want covered, you'd go ahead and pattern out. And the reason where this fold is, you don't put a full 5 by 5, is you want that fold there to work properly. Okay, so burnish that down. So we're not putting anything on this bottom flap, section here, 2.5 section, because that's where we're going to be attaching the element that we just made. Okay, so now we're going to turn it around. And we are going to use the spider webs on the top. So this one is 4 7/8 by 4 3/8. It's a scrap that I had left over after cutting everything else out, because I had used this paper before, so I didn't have a full 12 by 12 sheet. So you can just use whatever other Halloween paper you have in the collection that you're using. You don't have to do a full sheet. Now I'm patterning the top part, and you'll see that I have a gap here of black down here at the bottom, and that's fine because I have cut cardstock to make a pocket. And I think I'm going to use my envelope punch board. I love using that for my notches. So this is 5 inches, so at 2.5, put the end at 2.5 and just punch. So to pattern the pocket, this is going to be a flat pocket. I have a little piece that is 4 7/8. It's a scrap that I found that was 1 1/4. So I'm going to put this in, put the center mark. Let's see here. So it was 2.5, and then we back it off just 1/16 of an inch. Okay, so that should work right there. And I'm going to piece something on the bottom here. So let me go ahead and put this on the dot side, and then I'm going to look at those punch outs and see what I can put on the bottom of the pocket to fill that space in, that because this is a scrap. So okay, like that. Let's see what we got. We got Bubble Bubble Twirl in Trouble. October 31st is a banner, but I can cut it down. Oh, we've got the spiders. Let's punch these guys out. This is kind of like what's on the front with that jaggedy edge on the ends. And I'm looking to see if there's any little notches from punching out. I'm just going to trim those off. You can sand them off too. Spider's going to work great with that. Now we're going to have to fit it on. Oh, that's not that fun. Sorry. That's the main piece. We want it here. Okay, on the bottom of our pocket. Gotta watch where I'm putting stuff. I'm getting a little distracted here. Okay, so add glue to whatever you're going to put on the bottom of your pocket. I'm just going to line that up. I like the spiders because we've got the spider webs. And now we put the pocket on, and you're only going to put glue on a line of glue on the two short ends, and then the side that's opposite of the notch. So that's the bottom. So we're just adding as a pocket on the back of this, where we can add a gift card or a tag, whatever we want to add. So burnish that on and make sure it sticks, your pocket sticks. Okay, so that's the back, and I needed a piece in here. Like it fits, doesn't quite fit. Something to go there, because when that folds up and opens up, we actually need 2 pieces of pattern paper in here. So I'm out of those papers, I think. Let me look. So I have still some of this left, which is kind of fun. And the bats. I have some bats left, or I haven't used bats yet. Wait a second. I have some of this other pattern left too that I liked. So we'll do one of those. So these need to be cut for the 2.5 space at 2 3/8 by 4 7/8. I believe that's correct. Yeah. And this little one. Not big enough. I'm going to use this diamond pattern. So that is 2 3/8 by 4 7/8. So you need 2 pieces. It could be the same paper or 2 alternating papers to finish this in here. I think I cut that too big. Hang on a second. 2 3/8 right here. There we go. Hope that's better. Yeah, that's better. So let's go ahead and put that in there. So get all the pattern done for the card, and then we can add our easel piece and an easel, what I call a stopper, because you want something to keep it from folding down shut while it's standing up. I hope you've been enjoying so far the 13 Frights Before Halloween. This is day 4, so it's still early in the series. Remember, I will be giving away a prize on October 31st to those who live in the USA. To be eligible, you need to be a subscriber of my channel, but for your entries, you need to leave a comment, and you can leave 1 comment a day. You can leave more than a day, but only 1 will count. So you can get 1 entry per day of the 13 days by watching and commenting on my videos. So that's all patterned up. So now we need to take our shaker piece, and to make this work correctly, now you may want to put pattern paper on the back of this as well before we do that. So let's go ahead and cut another piece of this diamond shapes. Part of the back of this finished piece, the shaker piece, I cut it 3 inches tall to make sure that it's covered and 4 7/8 wide. So I'm gluing this to the back on the top side, top edge of what will be exposed when the card is standing up. So I wanted this covered as well. So just pop that on there right there. Now then, we're ready. Grab your base piece, and these 2 sections that are not covered, particularly this one, this is where you're going to put your adhesive. So put your glue all over this, just this 2.5 inch section that is on the bottom edge of the card, not where the fold is. The fold is the top of the cards. Now flatten it down and turn this over and line up. This is 5 by 5 and the card base is 5 by 5. So just line it up top to bottom, slide it over there where you need to get it. Make sure it is straight. And flip it over and burnish it. Now then, when it stands up, that makes your easel. Can you see it here on the back? Makes your easel. So this is why you need a stopper piece right here, or it just slides down. So to make it stand on a shelf, you decide where you want it to be, and you're going to put an element here that will keep it from sliding down. And I like how we've got the space between the images into the background, and we can shake all this fun stuff up inside. Of course, it falls down. A few of it hangs at the top, but most of it falls down when it's standing. So I'm going to decide on what I want here. I want something from this set. Big jack-o'-lantern. I think he's too big. I'd make it go way back there. There's a saying here on these punch outs, so let me grab that. And there's also cut aparts in this collection. So the punch out says, shadows of 1,000 years rise again unseen, voices whispering in the trees, tonight is Halloween. And then we have the moon has awoken with the sleep of the sun, the light has been broken, the spell has been begun. And then we have Happy Halloween. So I'm going to take this oval one. Okay. And cut off any little notch things that are hanging from being punched out. Now we're going to need to lift this a little bit so it will hold. And always keep a piece of scrap black chipboard. I'm going to put one piece on it, and then I may put two. So I just cut a rectangle to go behind it. Just kind of cut it down so it doesn't show. And just glue that on the back. Now you could use foam dots or foam tape. I don't use it much anymore. I did in the past, and I've had a lot come loose, especially where I live in Texas. I don't know if it's the humidity, the heat, even though we have air conditioning going on most of the time unless the air goes off. Let's see how that holds. I think I'm going to put a little bit more chipboard. Make a double layer chipboard. It doesn't have to be the same size. I'm just going to lay it right there on there. It doesn't show. Okay, there we go. Now then I'm going to lift this up. Because I think Happy Halloween in here. So I'm going to punch that out. Because it's a card, so I'm going to have a greeting in there. I have a verse and a greeting. Clean this up a little bit. This one I may have to sand it some. Let's see here. Okay, open this back up, and I'm going to put this down here at the bottom edge. Halloween. Now this one will go right above. Just the glue on the last chipboard piece that I stuck on there. going to go center it about right there. And I'm going to let that dry. So you want something that's a little bit thicker. It could be flowers or whatever to make it stand. And then when you fold it down, it's like that. So I really like that. And then like I said, in the back you can put a gift card or a little tag. So that's a lot of fun. I don't think it needs anything else. I thought I might put a bow or something on it, but this way you can make an envelope for it. It's still flat enough that you could actually mail it. And we got the shakers in there. So I think that looks really good. So I want to thank you again for following along on my 13 Frights before Halloween. Check back again tomorrow for day 5. I will have another little project that will be published at 10 a.m. Central Time. And that is October the 22nd for tomorrow. So here's my little easel card. Let me hold it up so you can see. I'll take a couple of pictures of it to have in the end of the video. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.